Ew. He knows he's like a fraction of Morty, and to make. I don't want to think about it.
She turned up, she turned out. Yeah, she turned. Hey.
Hey, yo, what's good, you guys? You already know who it is, man. It's Boomer with Bali Star, and today we're getting into cartoon episodes that traumatize children. You feel me? Now I look at the thumbnail and yeah, I guess it's talking about back in the early thousands to 2010s maybe. You feel me? So yeah, those were the time that actually late 90s till the 2010s was the time cartoons really, you know what I'm saying, had those one of a kind episodes. You feel me? So yeah, man, we're gonna get straight on into it, man. Make sure to leave that like, just below the video, man. Subscribe if you're new. Join up with the all-star gang up in this thing. Let's get straight. Let's get straight on into it, man. Let's go.
When growing up, one thing we as kids loved doing was watching TV, getting up early to watch Saturday morning cartoons, or late at night to watch whatever was playing. These cartoons gave us dreams, expectations, and most of all, permanent memories. Though, some shows push the boundaries, causing us to remember the more disturbing side of said cartoon. Today, we will be talking about cartoon episodes that traumatized children. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Before this one actually starts, I want to let you guys know that today, the day that you're watching
I thought that was
this,
a real
at
person
5 p.m.
behind them.
PST, we will be doing a live Q&A on my Discord server. So you can join and ask a question. It's going to be heavily moderated by my amazing team of mods. I also want to say that this video is heavily inspired by Blame It On George. His link is down in the description. Make sure to go subscribe to him. I love him. I look up to him as a creator. Hopefully one day I can narrate for his channel because I know he invites a bunch of YouTubers to narrate for his videos. But yeah, go subscribe to him. I love him. Also, this list is in no particular order. It's just the ones I wrote down. With that being said, make sure to grab a snack, grab a drink, and let's get started with the video. Pingu's Dream. Pingu. Pingu was a Swiss-British stop-motion claymation children's show created by Otmar Gutmann in 1987. The main character is a penguin called Pingu who lives in the South Pole along with his family and friends. The show aired on BBC Children's and Education, and episodes averaged 5 minutes in length. Today, we will be talking about Season 1, Episode 26, Pingu's Dream. The episode starts off as normal, nothing out of the ordinary. Pingu's mom is reading him a bedtime story, and Pingu begins to drift away to sleep. He wakes up to the sound of his igloo jumping, and before you know it, the igloo flies away. Then his bed extends its legs, and it begins walking. The camera cuts to this creepy walrus watching Pingu in his bed go about their day. Not to mention that every time the walrus pops up, these synths are played, it just gives you some uneasy feeling. What's up with things involving walruses being creepy? Like, what the directors keep showing the audience how the walrus is just watching Pingu. Eventually, the walrus makes his introduction. And you know how the directors made this already creepy character make his introduction to children? This is how.
That's kind of creepy.
It's clear to see that the walrus is supposed to have this goofy personality that finds everything funny and just wants to play. But they really messed up by making him almost human-like. The walrus begins messing with Pingu and eats his bed, all while non-stop laughing. Pingu and his bed begin running away, and Pingu ends up falling down a hill of snow. It was actually a pretty cool transition because the next camera zooms out, and you can see that he's in his room again. The episode ends with Pingu crying and his mother consulting him. Yes. That's how this episode ends. Not only is this the ending to the episode, but this was actually the season finale. This episode was highly controversial and was eventually banned from television due to the giant walrus being too scary and unsettling for many young viewers. The creator, Otmar Gutmann, actually used the same walrus model in a German short film he made years prior. This caught me off guard because the voice he used for the walrus is so unexpected. Here, I'll just play the clip. Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on the list. Blue Cat Blues, Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry need no introduction. I'm 100% sure everyone watching this video knows exactly who these two are. Blue Cat Blues is about Tom's love for a female cat, which doesn't...
That one was dark. I think that was like the series finale, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but dude, I heard it was, and I was like, dude, it ended with Tom. You know what I'm saying? And it's like he always gets hit by hard things like trains and stuff. What he just flattens his face and keeps it pushing. But it's like, why this particular one? That was, I don't know, that was just crazy to me.
The video begins with a quote by Jerry's narrator while watching Tom sit on the train tracks, patiently waiting for the train to come by. The quote is, "Poor Tom. In a few minutes it'll all be over, and for the first time since he met her, he'll be happy. Poor, miserable, lovesick creature. I suppose people will say I should have helped him. I know. But it's better this way." Talk about a kid's show getting dark. Throughout the episode, we see just how much Tom is in love with this cat, and how he is overthrown by another cat by the name of Mr. Butch. The cat with more money, more gifts, a better car. Tom
makes you wish that back then they should have known the phrase, "She for the streets."
To drinking milk, which in this episode is a substitute for alcohol. Tom is seen sliding down a gutter until Jerry saves him. They get splashed by some water and come to find out it's Mr. Butch and the love of Tom's life riding away in his car with a "just married" sign. After this, the same thing happens to Jerry.
So my brain is wired to eat more when I'm watching TV?
Jerry, as his girlfriend is riding away with another mouse. Jerry brings himself down to the train tracks, sits next to Tom, and both patiently wait for the train to pass by. The episode ends with the haunting horn of a train. This episode was banned by Cartoon Network and Boomerang due to its references to alcohol and... Also, I just want to clear up a common misconception, and that is that this is actually the finale to the series. It's not.
Okay.
Man's best
Thank
friend,
God.
Ren and
Thank
Stimpy.
God.
Ren and Stimpy ran on Nickelodeon from 1991 to 1996 and focused on a sociopathic chihuahua and a clueless cat. This show got away with so much shit, it's actually scary. Season 2, Episode 4...
Oh yeah, no, the adult series of this show. Yeah, I mean, I never watched that. I can't really find it.
What's up with a man by the name of George Liquor adopting Ren and Stimpy at a pet store. Once he takes them home, he puts them through a bunch of rigorous tasks to see if they can keep up with how he wants his ideal pets to act. In one scene, he forces Stimpy to get on his couch so that he can learn how to be quote-unquote disciplined and, well, just watch. I have no idea how Nickelodeon let this show air in the first place. Eventually, George says that his pets need to learn how to attack.
I mean, again, back then, that was considered, regular, you know what I'm saying, one of the top, weird type of regular cartoons, you know what I'm saying? But it's this was you know what I'm saying, this was this is how you know that cartoons were real back then. They weren't so censored, and you know what I'm saying, still trying to keep it edgy, but it's they know not to push those boundaries. Cartoons like these, they push those boundaries, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's from the 1930s all the way up till then, of course, 1930s, they had straight up blacism, I'm gonna say that, you know what I'm saying? They have straight up blacism, you know what I'm saying? All those type of stuff. Honestly, I felt like cartoons have only gotten more censored as the years went by. 90s was you know what I'm saying, before we got into LBGTQ and all, you know what I'm saying? It's yeah, it's again, we went from 90s to the 10s to now the 20s. This cartoons got more censored and all that. So yeah, I think the cartoons have been getting more censored for years, still trying to keep their edginess. But as the line, as the bar gets lower and lower and lower and stuff, it's they can only squeeze so much edginess limboing under that bar. You feel me? But yeah, that's why I love the 90s. Cause I grew up just where it was it was still like this. And that was considered funny, bro. That was funny. It's still kind of funny to me. Oh god.
I have no idea how Nickelodeon let this the show air in the first place. Eventually, George says that his pets need to learn how to attack, so he puts on this padded bite suit, and Stimpy is reluctant due to him being his owner. Ren, on the other hand, takes full advantage of this and begins beating the ever-living shit out of George with a paddle. So much so that George's head does a full 360 and right eyeball falls out of its socket. Ren continues on his rampage and just doesn't stop beating this man to a pulp. It even shows George with X's for eyes, and we all know what that means. Though he actually didn't die, it's still quite disturbing to add that little detail. But the disturbing parts of this episode...
Really? 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 X's for eyes? That's disturbing. Of course, X's for eyes didn't mean dead back. Actually, no, it did. It did. But in some cases, like, sometimes it wouldn't mean dead. In some cases. But X's for eyes disturbing? By gobs.
Episode don't end there. George climbs out of his suit, breathes like a maniac, and congratulates Ren on being a true champion. The episode ends with all three characters dancing. Yeah. Now, this episode actually never ended up airing on Nickelodeon. It was banned once they saw what it actually contained. But this episode was moved to Ren and Stimpy Adult Party cartoon. And that show was basically a revival of the original, except with very sexual... It was just a very sexual show. I mean, if the creator went from making a kids show and turning that kids show into a sexual... I mean, I guess we could see where his mind was. Anyway, we could tell that this creator was trying to go with this dark humor, but it just ended up being super creepy for kids, and it was not the right move. Teeth for Two, Cat Dog. Cat Dog ran for 7 years on Nickelodeon from 1998 to 2005. You may recognize Dog's voice since it's Tom Kenny, SpongeBob's voice actor. Teeth for Two is actually a fun concept for an episode, where whenever one of them does something, the other one feels it, except it revolves around teeth. Look, I hate the dentist already. Yes, I do go, but just the fact that there's drills in your mouth, pause, nah bro, I just hate everything about the dentist so much. Anyway, the dentist tells them that the food they eat affects the other's teeth, resulting in Cat's teeth to become brown and withered. Cat tries to convince Dog to start eating healthy, but then turns into a battle seeing who can do more damage to the other's teeth. Cat chews on ice, and Dog chews on foil. Later that night, Dog is asleep, and Cat attempts to brush his teeth. He is unable to do so because of all the food in his mouth. So what's the next best option? That's right, traveling inside of their own body to come out as an inside-out cat out of Dog's mouth.
But that was kind of... Oh, God, yeah.
Dog screams of horror and swallows Cat back down to where he's supposed to be. Skipping to the end, they get their teeth fixed, but end up getting food allergies from all the junk they ate throughout the entire episode. Never thought I'd see an inside-out cat trying to brush a dog's teeth. Knuckles and His Hilarious Problem. The Misadventures of Flapjack. The Misadventures of Flapjack was another show that got away with so much disturbing shit. Personally,
Flapjack
as a
was
kid,
creepy.
I loved it just because it was so gross and I thought that was so funny back in the day. I remember pausing it at those funny still frames with like really detailed zoomed in pictures of the characters' faces. Anyway, Season 2, Episode 4 is Knuckles and His Hilarious Problem. This episode is about addiction. More specifically, Knuckles' addiction to candy, which has the effects of alcohol, from feeling warm and happy, angry at the world, to depression. The next morning, after Knuckles ingests a bunch of candy, Flapjack realizes that Knuckles has become addicted to the candy, so much so that he hallucinates, sees Flapjack as a lollipop, and tries eating him. Next, Knuckles begins manipulating Flapjack and tells him that he's just fine and he can trust him, though this only leads to 2 candy rampages. Where he steals from homes, babies, and a gumball machine. Then we go to this depressing scene showing just how this candy addiction has left Knuckles, getting kicked out of the candy trough, being used as a doormat, and taking any bit of candy he can get, even if it's from a stranger's mouth. Bubby decides to send Knuckles out to isolation on a piece of the boardwalk into the sea. Here, Knuckles begins hallucinating and imagines a giant Flapjack putting his arms
That dude was
inside of his
creepy.
mouth.
The doctor dude was super creepy. Like, I remember that there was a character that was hella creepy. It was the doctor.
And vomiting candy into it. Very dark episode if you think about it, especially seeing just how bad the effects of candy have left Knuckles. I really like the episode though. It really makes you aware of just how bad alcohol or any addiction can be. Earth Mover, Batman Beyond. Batman Beyond released in 1999 and aired on Cartoon Network and WB Kids. Today we're going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 15, aka Earth Mover. We start with this teenage girl by the name of Jackie hanging with her friends, one of which is Terry McGinnis, aka the Batman after the original Bruce Wayne Batman.
Wait,
Earth Mover, Batman Beyond. Batman Beyond released in 1999 and aired on Cartoon Network and WB Kids. Today we're going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 15,
There's
aka
a Batman
Earth
Beyond
Mover.
Justice
We start with
League?
this teenage girl by the name of Jackie hanging with her friends, one of which is Terry McGinnis, aka the Batman after the original Bruce Wayne Batman. She explains that she's been feeling like she was followed and watched by someone. Soon after that, Terry sees a mysterious figure outside through the window. A chase begins, but the figure isn't caught. The next day, Jackie's adopted father gives all three of them a ride, but first he says he wants to show them something. That being a piece of land he plans on buying and placing a factory on. An earthquake happens, and again, there is another fight scene. After this, Bill, her adopted father, explains that he thinks it might be Jackie's real father looking for him. He tells the story from many years ago, and while he was trying to dump toxic waste into an abandoned mine shaft...
So it's like, was he really showing her land, or was he showing her that?
The wire pulling up the container got stuck on a piece of wood and resulted in the entire mine shaft collapsing in on itself. Jackie's father was at the bottom and ended up being crushed by the debris. Not only that, but was covered by the toxic waste. Everyone assumed that he died instantly, and Bill felt so bad that he ended up adopting Jackie, who was only a kid at the time. Fast forward into the episode, and the Earth Mover has trapped both Jackie and Bill underground. During this scene, Jackie finds out what her father actually looks like, and, well...
Oh, yeah.
So like the text was saying, I can't show too much due to a copyright claim, but basically, Jackie is horrified seeing that this is her father. I mean, who wouldn't?
Oh,
I mean, look at the way
God.
they drew it. Yeah, that's basically the scene in a nutshell. I mean, even listen to that voice. It sounds like he's struggling to get his words out. He seems to think that Bill betrayed him and left him to die so that he didn't have to split the revenue with a partner. He also sees Bill adopting Jackie as her getting stolen from him. Imagine accidentally dying, and then the friend that accidentally killed you adopts your daughter? Bro. Eventually, Batman swoops in and saves the day. The episode ends with this very dark quote.
My father.
He's not your father. Not really. He's a ghost.
Dad.
Mooch Master P, Mr. Meaty. Mr. Meaty aired from 2006 to 2009 and was cancelled due to a mix of low ratings and criticism from
Mr.
adult
Beatty was creepy, dog. Man, this show was creepy.
and vegetarians who protested against the show. Honestly, the show is very lucky it even lasted 3 years considering how ugly all of the characters were. The show followed fast food workers Josh and Parker through their odd adventures. Season 1, Episode 6 begins with Parker and quote-unquote Moochie.
I will tell you this, I would hate to be in a room alone with these type of puppets. I mean, let alone any kind of puppet, but these kind of puppets, oh, bro.
Off of everyone and eating their food. Josh gets annoyed and tricks him into eating a raw patty. Then, weird things start happening. Like, all of the food Parker is about to take a bite out of disappear. Josh records it with a camcorder and slows down the footage. Then we see that a giant tapeworm is living inside of Parker eating all of his food. They decide to get rid of the tapeworm the only way they know how, fishing it out of Parker's stomach. They do end up getting it out, and an Australian man comes by and says he'll buy it for his zoo. Though he doesn't take it to the zoo. Instead, he swallows it whole in front of them.
Big go. Come on in. That's the stuff.
That's the
And
stuff.
it says she tickles on the way down. Wow.
Tickles on the way down.
King Ramsey
That's the stuff.
We're gonna have a good time tonight.
Ramsey's curse / remembrance of Courage Past. Courage the Cowardly Dog. This list would not be complete without mentioning Courage the Cowardly Dog. I could go on and on about all the creepy monsters that gave kids nightmares throughout the entirety of the series, but I want to mention the one that stuck with me the most, and that's King Ramsey's curse. In this episode, Eustace does not want to return a historical slab because he hears on the news that it's worth $1 million. A person from the museum it belongs to comes over to take it back and offers Eustace a tote bag. Really, my guy? I'm pretty sure you could legally get it it back for free. Then the door gets slammed on him. When it becomes nighttime, they hear a creak at the door and check outside. Then we get King Ramses, who just keeps repeating.
Honestly, the scariest episode of Courage for me, it was the very first episode I saw of Courage the Cowardly Dog, man. It was called the Weremole or something. But yeah. The whole episode was scary. The music was chilling, very chilling. The music in that one was very chilling. And not only that, it topped it off with the doctor, which already looks scary with his eyebrows popping out of his eyes. You know what I'm saying? Whenever it does, because you know the doctor in this show has like very bushy eyebrows that like covers his eyes. But every time he gets shocked, it shows his eyes, and it's like, oh damn, those some scary looking eyes. You feel me? When they showed the doctor as a weremole coming out to bite Eustace, I had nightmares. I did not sleep in my room. I had to sleep in my parents' room. How young was I at the time? Oh, I think I had to sleep in my parents' room. I don't know, but all I know is like I always slept with the light on. Left the TV on when I slept. That show, that episode of this show was nothing. This gave me nightmares too. I ain't gonna lie. So this is second. But the first one had to be Weremole, bro. The Weremole. Oh my god, bro. I feel like I just gotta go back on it now just to see if I've changed now. I gotta look at it again. Cause like, when I look back on the things that scare me, they don't really scare me anymore. Like the Thriller by Michael Jackson music video. Not the zombie part, although that was kind of scary, but the werewolf part, you know what I'm saying? So anything considered a were is like scary to me, you know what I'm saying? The werewolf part in Michael Jackson's Thriller, that scared me when my family played a prank on me, bro. If y'all ever want that type of story time, S is in the chat, man. S is in the chat. But yeah, bro, like freaking the weremole, scariest one ever. This one too, and some other ones too. I forgot. Oh, the one with the moon that had the dark eye. My bad, dog. I'm like getting off into these tangents and stuff, but yeah, it was like the soul, the ghost of like cropping or something, like plantation or something.
Return the slab or suffer my curse.
Return the slab. Oh yeah, nah. Return the slab or suffer my curse.
It's just such a creepy design, and also it's a 3D model in the 2D animated show. There's so many instances of just plain creepy stuff in this cartoon, but that's what gave it its charm. I feel like Courage the Cowardly Dog definitely let young kids know whether they like the horror genre. So, shout out to Courage the Cowardly Dog for that. I also want to talk about another episode called Remembrance of Courage Past, which is actually the second to last episode of the entire series. This episode is about Courage's parents, which sadly got taken away from him at an early age due to an evil veterinarian. This veterinarian puts Courage's parents in a rocket ship, and Courage can't do anything because he's just a pup. While being chased, Courage hops into the garbage disposal and escapes. He watches as his parents are sent off to space and waves goodbye. We see how
Dude, this episode made me cry. I think about watching now, it'll still make me cry, bro. Like, I don't know how they did such a good job with the storytelling in this one, bro. This one like made me cry, bro. For real.
Adopted by Muriel, and why she decides to name him Courage. Meanwhile, in the present day, the same thing is about to happen to Muriel and Eustace, but luckily, Courage is able to save the day and send the veterinarian to space this time. In space, he finds himself with all the other dogs he has experimented on, including Courage's parents. Those two episodes never left my mind. I think about those episodes to this day. Jurassic Park, Futurama. This is a little bonus I'm throwing in. The reason I'm throwing this in as a bonus is because one, Futurama wasn't really made for kids. It was a show for young adults. And two,
thank God he didn't do shows like Hey Arnold. a lot of episodes from Hey Arnold scared me, bro. Probably to this day.
I don't think this episode traumatized anyone. It was just incredibly sad. And if you're a fan of Futurama, you already know what I'm talking about. This episode of Jurassic Park was the hardest one to rewatch for me. This episode is about Fry's old dog from 1997 named Seymour. In case you guys don't know, Futurama takes place in the year 3000 with Fry being the only person from the year 2000. Since he
that
accidentally...
episode was sad, bro. Like, another one, bro. Jesus, man. It, like, that would be hard. Like, it doesn't make me cry. It didn't make me cry. But again, nonetheless, it was really hard to watch.
Fell into a cryogenic chamber on New Year's Day. Anyway, Fry finds Seymour as a fossil in a museum, where he then takes home to the professor. The professor explains that he can actually bring back Seymour with new technology, and so Fry begins getting ready for Seymour's return. This includes a doggy bed, a collar, and some chew toys. When the professor is ready to bring back Seymour, Bender throws his body into a pit of lava because he's jealous that Fry will have a new best friend. We get a flashback of Seymour doing everything in his power to find Fry. Seymour eventually finds Fry, but no one in the lab notices that Fry is in there. Even his parents, who go to pick up Seymour. Talk about frustration. Anyway, Bender jumps into the lava pit and retrieves Seymour's body. Seymour didn't burn due to the material covering his body. The professor finds out that Seymour actually lived his full lifespan of 15 years, 12 years after Fry's disappearance. So Fry decides not to bring him back simply because he doubts Seymour even remembers him, and he probably moved on with another family. But wait, here's the kicker. We, the audience, get a
What?
Was actually nominated for an Emmy.
Oh, he cut out the audio.
Episode was actually nominated for an Emmy in 2003, which, you know, that's just how good the episode was. Sadly, it did not win the Emmy. The Simpsons beat it out, which is also made by Matt Groening. So, Matt Groening, good on you. Yeah, this episode tore my heart out when I watched it. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 200,000 subscribers. Make sure to go follow me on all my socials.
Go do that. Go do that. Alright, you guys. So, that was cartoon episodes that traumatized children, man. I ain't gonna lie, I remember this show, but I don't remember that, but the more I was looking at it just now, it was like, yo, that does look creepy. I ain't gonna cap. But, yeah, man. Y'all let me know your thoughts about down in the comment section down below, man. Y'all know Boomer with Bally Star, man. Make sure to leave a like, below the video, subscribe if you're new. Join up with the All-Star gang up in this thing. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one. 100. Ooh!
I like all types that bang me like a chola. Do it like I like it, man, that's how I told her. Busters can't stand me. The vigilante, take your chick and turn her into a banshee. Change her name to Tammy, chewing out her taffy.
Love, you know too much, get wiped out.